Hey Wakefield, I'm just looking at your logo design ideas. Let's see. So there's this one. This one would be cool. The only issue with it that I can see is that this detail is going to get really little when you size down your logo. So when you size your logo down, a lot of times logos go on like pens and pencils of different promo items, so they get really small. So I can see like if these are just like really thin black lines, then this could be um, an issue with having like white fill and then thinner black lines of the coins. Um, so that could be a problem um, with that idea. This fire one is cool. It's just I wonder if you might have a little issue making that work. Being a beginner student, it would take definitely a lot more skill. And so I think that might be a little further than how far you want to go with it. This one might be a little too basic. Finding a way to conjoin the letters is always a good idea, like somehow overlap them, and then you can use the shape builder tool to like, well, you'd have to outline the font first, bring them together somehow, like overlap them somehow, and then use the shape builder tool to conjoin them so that they're one solid, nice shape, so that when you change the colors and stuff, it just happens all at one time. And then you would have to like put your full name Wakefield Guyant underneath this symbol though, because there should be text along with the symbol. So definitely spell out your name underneath your logo design. Um, I'm really liking the dice idea. I think that this would be easier to complete. I think you could find a dice online and maybe two different images online. Maybe when you go to search for these, maybe look up dice icon when you go to look so that you get something that's very black and white and easy to work with. Something that is a little chunkier in style so that when it does shrink down, it's not going to be, showing up poorly at a small size. So we do have to be aware of that. But something maybe with a solid black fill with the white dots might work. And then you could just kind of, you could put a shape over the top of this. Like, so if you went with this one, since it's black and it has relatively thick lines in between, that when it's sized down wouldn't look too bad. This one actually is pretty cool too. You could use this in either, reversed out or not. But find something that's chunky, that's going to size down well. And then, you could, let's see, I'll just control click on this, save image to downloads. If I bring this into Illustrator, let's do File New. We're going to work in black, remember, when you do your logo. So we need the artboard to be set 3 inches wide by 3 inches tall. So I just went to File New. Let's go to Print and then go to Inches again and then make this 3 by 3. So I went to Print up here. I changed this to inches. Width is 3, height is 3. Number of artboards, we just want 1. We don't need a bleed on this document. Advanced options, go ahead and open that up with this little arrow, and then let's put it in CMYK. And make sure the raster effects are on high at 300 ppi so that this prints really clearly. Everything else is fine. Don't even mess with it. So as long as it's looking like this, we can create it. This will be your artboard that you're going to work on. And just make sure you're in the Window Workspace Essentials Classic workspace, because that's what we've been working on. We want the Properties panel open. If you don't have that open, just go to Window, Properties, and make sure that this is checked. But otherwise, you should be looking like this for the most part. So, we could do a file place, and we'll bring in that image that we saved. I think it went into my downloads. Here it is. And if I click and hold down on my cursor and then let up at the size I want it to come in at, we can do that. Let's crop this image, and you can do that in Illustrator. You just have to go to this little crop image button. Obviously you have to have this selected. So this little blue X has to be through the image. You can select it with the black arrow tool. Let's go to crop image over here in the properties panel. It's a little button. There's a warning there. So maybe I'm just going to work with this one here. It might be a little easier to work with. And then let's do an image trace. You can do this button here and do like black and white logo, since this is black and white icon that we pulled off the web here of dice. So let's just do, there's different things you can use. I mean, you can experiment with these and just do Command Z or Control Z on a Windows machine. But let's just do black and white logo. And then we have to click expand. That's the second part of an image trace. So you have to, push image trace, select the drop down of which one you want, and then expand. So the little dots didn't do very well. So let's do Command Z on our keyboard. And maybe it's because this isn't very high resolution. Make sure the one that you pull off the web is high resolution, this one, and it will print better. We could fix that with like just drawing new shapes. Oops. The fact that let's expand this. So pushing shift down and holding out the ellipse tool gives us a perfect circle. And you could just place these over the top of of these circles if this ends up happening to you. But I just suggest finding a really clear image that will trace well. This has a white background on it. I'm pretty sure if I move it out into here, you can see it did add a white background. So if I use the white arrow, I can click on the white background and delete that. And then we can bring this back over onto our artboard. I'm going to size it up on the artboard, pushing shift the whole time so it doesn't distort. And I'll just kind of center it here. And then, if you want your W and your G here, or the W and G here, maybe, I would just, grab this, get a white, let's just shrink it down. This is a white, I'm using the ellipse tool and I'm just using Command C, Command V to copy paste. Command C is copy, Command V as in Victor is paste. And instead of Command, use Control on a Windows machine. So these two shapes, they're blocking those, and actually we probably could just get the white arrow tool, honestly, and click on this and then just change it to white. That's actually a better way to do it. So I just double clicked on the fill color. You can also go over here in the properties panel and click on white here. But you have to use the white arrow tool if you want to click on specific shapes. So we could change these, pushing shift on the keyboard, you can get multiple shapes selected at one time. I'm still using the white arrow tool. Go to the fill color under properties, change this to white. Using the shape builder tool, we could, draw through, oops. We could draw through and just drag all this around. I'm dragging one line just to make it a cleaner image. When we make logos, we want to have clean shapes. So if I'm not using these circles, then we don't need them anymore. So I'm getting rid of them with the shape builder tool by drawing a line through the shape that I want to conjoin it with, and it just makes one nice, solid, pretty shape. And and then you could grab the text tool, find a W that you like in the drop down over here. You'll have to, control click on this and create outlines once you find your W that you really like. Whether it's a capitalized W, whether it's a lowercase, just make sure it's relatively legible. Push shift on your keyboard when you resize these things too. And then let's see, a G that you like, in a font that you like. Control, right click on this, on the text box. And let's go to, let's see. Well, for some reason I can't find it in the drop-down menu, but if I go to type, create outlines, I can get to the same place. I'm pushing shift on the keyboard so I don't stretch it out too much. Obviously, you should spend more time finding your W and your G that you want to use. And then you could just, put your name underneath. I don't know if I'm spelling your name right. I'm really bad at spelling, so. And, center that. Maybe use a nice font pair. If you did the font pair assignment in week 6, I believe. In Brightspace, maybe this could be a bold font. Maybe this could be more of a scripty font. Try and use a nice font pair in your logo design if possible. And then you would save this out with the black and white, and then you would do a file save as and add color. Don't use more than three colors or so. Keep your colors down. But anyway, I kind of went into detail with this, but I just kind of wanted to show you what you could do with these ideas. This isn't the only idea you had, but from what I'm seeing, this is the most executable idea. This idea, you could definitely do this. This is cool, but like it's on a lined piece of paper, which is a problem. I mean, you could draw this out really in a lot of detail on like a nice piece of like white clear paper, and maybe, you know, go over it with a marker and then, you know, scan it in and then have an illustrator trace it. But honestly, I would say this dice idea is probably the best idea that you have as far as for this logo project goes. I do like this, but I think it's just going to be too advanced for you. And honestly, you know, doing an image trace of a drawing that you do is not really that hard to do. It actually, you'd use more techniques in Illustrator if you actually went with this idea. So if you just kind of follow what I did in this video, you should be able to come up with an interesting dice idea. Anyway, we'll talk to you later.